Woofy, because an entire show of Hot Topics is live right now. Ivanka's official. Will her new gig in the White House help solve some of her dad's issues with women? Plus, furious feud? Rumors that Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel's ongoing battle is so bad, producers have to keep them separated. And how would President Obama's former senior advisor handle the wild ways of the current White House resident? David Axelrod hits the political view. Let's fire up Hot Topics with Woofy, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
Did you know that it's Women's History Month?
I didn't know that.
It was.
Oh, it's
Just
over.
like black people, women only get a month too. And to help mark the occasion, a group of women at the White House listened to a speech on empowerment from the dude who's currently sitting there.
All right.
Take a look.
My cabinet is full of really incredible women leaders. Since the very beginning, women have driven, and I mean each generation of Americans, toward a more free and more prosperous future. And we've had leaders like Susan B. Anthony. Have you heard of Susan B. Anthony? I'm shocked that you've heard of her. Who dreamed of a much more equal and fair future. An America where women themselves, as she said, helped to make laws and elect the lawmakers. And that's what's happening more and more.
So, where's the cabinet full of women?
Yeah.
Because this is the, and I'm only pointing this out because this meeting in particular is about women, whether women should have paid maternity leave. That's what this meeting is about. These are the guys who are deciding. Yeah. So I was just wondering if the cabinet full of, maybe he means the medicine cabinet, they're all in the bathroom. I don't know.
Well, maybe
the binders full of women.
Maybe Steve Bannon is transitioning.
That's not an image anyone needed to think about, Joy. That's not on my mind.
I mean, to be fair, he has 4 women in his cabinet. He has 4.
Oh my God!
He has 4 women. Bush had 4, Clinton had 6, and President Obama had 7. So he, you know, historically there haven't been
that with any. We had to shame him into putting some women in there too.
Yes, because he has Betsy DeVos, he has Elaine Chao,
Nikki Haley, and Lindsey McMahon.
Right. So
And he has
Elaine
Kellyanne
Chao, who's
Conway.
married to Mitch McConnell, am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has 4.
That doesn't cancel her out, though.
No, I'm just saying.
See, for me, his issue
Where
is
were
not.
they in the picture?
They're not making.
They didn't go to that meeting.
They didn't go to that meeting.
No.
All about women and what they may need help.
That's a good question.
So I'm just curious because I don't see any black people.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, there's a shadow in the back.
Wait, there's no black people.
He does have the least
Yeah.
diverse cabinet that we've seen, I think, since Nixon.
Well, some have a 10 billion, some have 3 billion. That's diverse.
Diverse portfolios.
Yeah.
See, I actually think that that's one area where I do give him credit, being a former businessman. I do think he's the type of person that will put the best person for the job up there. And the reason I look at Kellyanne Conway, she, love her or hate her, she did turn his campaign around. I think his daughter has been a huge business ally to him. She's very successful at bridging gaps, bridging divides between people left and right. I do like some of the picks in here he has for women. I think Donald Trump's biggest issue is not how many women he has in his cabinet, but whether or not women feel that his policies are ultimately going to help them. That's going to be the test of his presidency.
Well, but so many people voted for him, right? We have 53% of Republican women did vote for him. I do wonder how they feel about the lack of women in his cabinet.
Listen, it's not the lack of women, but one has to say, you know, if you don't have any women in the cabinet, how do you know if maternity leave is necessary. You have a daughter, and this is the discussion that you're having. Now, your child didn't have to deal with whether to take maternity leave.
No.
So where are those people who can actually speak to this?
Well, she actually did, though. In her defense, Ivanka came out and did speak for paid maternity leave and was an advocate for that. So I look at her, and I think she's been a huge asset to him, because on those issues pertaining to women, I feel that she has been a vocal supporter.
Does he listen to her?
I haven't heard
Does he
her say
listen?
I think he totally listens to Ivanka.
You do?
I do.
I do. I respect her.
See, I haven't, and she's now part of, she's in the White House now, so she is now a person working there. Maybe he should put her in the cabinet. Maybe these are the things that he needs to think about, because I gotta tell you, when I look at what the programs that they're pooping all over for women, I don't feel like this is, I can't say the other word. You know,
diversity, whether it's sexual orientation, race, gender. I think the reason people are a little frustrated is it's very difficult to imagine a group of people legislating in your best interest when no one at the table is representative of it.
Well,
So
I'm actually, I know that you're, Jed, you've said you're sort of a fan of Ivanka Trump, and I think that she certainly has her father's ear. I am supremely uncomfortable with the fact that he has put her into a formal White House position. I mean, we're not talking about a dynasty running the United States. This is supposed to be the government, and I think ethically, you know, this is pure and simple nepotism. I mean,
but there's nothing. It's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Not necessarily. George W. Bush and Obama's ethics lawyers have both spoken out to say they do believe her appointment is a violation.
I think it's not.
But then it would be a violation for Jared Kushner. It would be. There's a lot of the whole thing is a.
He doesn't care. He doesn't pay attention to law.
And at this point,
he does what he wants.
That's the least of our worries. You know, that's the least of it. As Women's Month, and you look at all the stuff they want to make disappear for women. I'm sorry, I'm never going to have a baby again, but I know lots of people who are going to have babies, and they need their maternity leave, because you know what? Without us, you wouldn't exist.
See, I think we got the support. If you look at a lot of that, you know, I know you don't like exit polling, I don't love it either, but if you look at a lot of what women were saying and the reason that he got elected, I think a lot of women weren't focused on what people typically call women's issues, like what we're talking about, maternity leave. Not to say they're not important, but they were focused on jobs. They were focused on health care.
Well, you haven't done that either.
Well, that's what the tax is. That's where it's going to rest.
Some really impressive women, and what did they say that did support Trump? You said they were impressive. What were they voting?
Yeah, I interviewed a lot of Trump supporters for a Nightline piece that I did, and they voted along the business lines.
Yeah.
They were businesswomen, and they felt that he would give them enough tax breaks to run their business successfully so that they could offer health care, so that they could offer higher wages. But I got to tell you, when you look at the breakdown of the women that voted for President Trump, they're suburban moms, first-time voters, and well-educated women. I don't understand how the suburban moms square his platform with their vote.
Because, listen, everybody believed that he, you know, what you see on The Apprentice is not the man, okay? That's not real, okay? And he's aspirational. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People see that and they say, that's what, I want something like that. But then you go in and you scratch a little deeper and you go, well, what do you mean you lost $900 billion, $1 million?
They don't care.
You know?
They interviewed Alison Camerata on CNN. She was interviewing Trump voters, and they all gave him an A. They held up an A. They think that he's doing a great job. And then when she confronted them and said, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he's not doing this, he's not doing this, they were like, in denial that he's doing it, he's going to do it, he has obstruction. And so what the conclusion that she came to is that as long as he speaks things that they think they want, it's enough.
That's not going to work when they check their pocketbooks, when they have to pay for stuff, when their health care costs go up or down. The test of President Trump is going to be whether his policy helps people or not. And if it does not, then people are going to vote him out.
Well, it's going to take a while before that kicks in.
Right, that hasn't kicked in yet.
And by that time, God knows what he'll do.
And if God doesn't know, maybe our sponsors do. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on The View, we're serving up big hot topics.
We're talking big.
Plus, we're hanging with Katie Sagal.
Wait.
wait. There's more.
This Guy Day Friday is a home run, cuz.
Joining us is a real man, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, we do, Joy. Because Alex Rodriguez co-hosts.
TGIF.
It's all tomorrow on the Emmy-nominated View. Still ahead, President Obama's former senior advisor, David Axelrod, hits the political view to reveal how he'd handle the latest White House chaos.
Welcome back. I think this has to be one of my favorite stories ever that I've heard in the last couple of years. President George W. Bush, known to have a way with words, and he has not lost his touch. Because apparently after the new guy's inaugural, the former president's assessment was, that was some weird beep. And I have to say I concur, George. I mean, there's something about him just, you know, just
well, he's
thinking about
endearing
him
in
doing
some ways.
it.
His personality is very endearing. But he left office at 22% approval rating. I mean, compared to Trump, he's like Theodore Roosevelt now, you know? But Trump has a 35, I believe. It went down from last week. Yeah, it went down from 37 to 35. Yeah.
Joy watches it like the stock market.
I do. I'm waiting for it to go down so low to 22.
How low?
To let's say 22.
Right.
That the Republicans will turn on him and will get him out.
Well,
That's
do
what
you
I'm
find
praying
it
for
interesting that when GW left, he was at, what did you say, 22?
22 when he
After
left.
8 years.
Yeah.
How long has this one been in?
Less than 100 days.
60
Less
some odd
than like
days.
15 minutes, and he's in the toilet.
I know. But I mean, that inaugural speech was weird as poop, because if you think about it, it was so gloom and
You know, I'm going to
doom.
teach you how to say poop so that you actually get.
Yeah, weird as.
No, don't connect the A word because then it sounds like you're saying something else.
Okay.
It was a weird, poopy speech. It
was so doom and gloom. You know, it was so doom and gloom. I've never heard an inaugural speech like that.
Very Darth Vader.
What?
The thing I love about Bush, though, is that even if you disagreed with him on policy, he had humility to him. Yeah. He had an appeal. He was a likable guy. So he left, and people had concerns. I was one of them, deeply concerned. He was a big spender. You know, got us involved in a lot of overseas stuff people didn't think we should have been involved in. But you couldn't critique the character of the man, really. And he would laugh at himself. He would do the White House correspondence, and he's a funny guy. Yeah. So you walked away and said, I disagree with him, and it wasn't personal. The problem with Trump is that he seems to have no humility, and he makes things personal against you, so then you're inclined to make things personal against him, because you feel like you're being attacked all the time. And I think a lot of Republicans...
He does attack. He does attack. Yeah. It's not very presidential when you go on the attack like that. Well, even his surrogates go on the attack.
Yeah, speaking of unpleasant truths, parents took to Reddit to post the most painfully honest things their kids have ever said. Like, you get the big fork because you're the fattest. And why does Uncle John have boobs?
Well, Luca, I'll tell you a story about Luca.
Yes.
When he was around 3.5, I said to him, and he loves his mommy. So I said, who do you want to live with? And he said, with mommy in Long Island. And I said, well, where will Daddy live? And he said, Daddy can live in the woods. So I said, well, if he lives in the woods, what's he going to eat? He said, he can eat poisonous berries. Okay? That's called the edible phase of growing up.
I love that one of them in this article said, happy birthday, Daddy, one day closer to death.
That's so funny.
How old was that kid?
I don't know, but he's very wise.
It's kind of nutty. Kids are very, very strange.
It's nice, though. It's
There's
like,
no filter.
my mom used to own an acting school, and she used to teach kids really small, from ages 3 all the way up until 21. And I used to show up to teach, and I always know, like, I would go on dates afterwards sometimes, and I would go dressed, and the kids would be like, oh no, that's not gonna work. And they would just lay it out. And I loved it though, because they have no filter sometimes, so you know you're getting the truth. Adults filter everything, and they lie.
Well, not all of us.
Not all, exactly. I could go to you too, that's true.
My niece once asked my sister why she had wind on her shirt, and she couldn't figure out what she was saying. It was the Nike swoosh sign. Like, the way kids see things is so interesting. It's like a totally different perspective.
So it's kids and you, Joy, basically.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Painfully honest. Painfully honest.
So let me just say, as a BS artist, we'll be right back. Welcome back. The White House is still feeling the sting of the collapse of the health care bill, but yesterday, Press Secretary Sean Spicer said his boss knew it stunk all along. Take a look.
He understands that in order to get to 216, we have to make sure that it does what he said it was going to do, that it achieves those goals of lowering costs and creating more options. And so we're not going to create a deal for the sake of creating a deal that ends up being not in the best interest of the American people. You've got to know when to walk away from a deal that is going to end up bad.
Know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Are they not aware how much the president is actually on TV? Surely he could not have missed the way he was pushing congressmen and senators around. I mean, take a look. I mean, kooky.
This is a great plan. This is going to be fantastic. We're going to do something that's great, and I'm proud to support the replacement plan released by the House of Representatives and encouraged by members of both parties. I think really that we're going to have something that's going to be much more understood and much more popular.
I'm sorry, it's right there, Sean.
Yeah, I want to scream. This has me so twisted. I want to scream out, liars, because first he supported the bill.
Right.
Then he bullied everybody, bullied the Freedom Caucus, threatened them to support the bill. They weren't having it. Thank you, Freedom Caucus, by the way. Then he blamed Democrats for it. Now he's on Twitter blaming, I have the tweet from him.
You forgot about Paul
Ryan. It's everybody's fault but his, probably because he didn't read the bill.
Oh, there it is.
Here's the tweet by him. Freedom Caucus will hurt the entire Republican agenda if they don't get on the team and fast. So, conservatives who voted for this guy and thought he was going to be your ally, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, because the Freedom Caucus are the only people in there that are saying this is a bad bill. And you know what? I'm glad they stuck it to him, and I'm glad Steve Bannon and Donald Trump couldn't bully them into anything.
Well, another tweet that he had tweeted out was, you were given many lies with hashtag Obamacare. Go with our plan. Call your rep and let them know you're behind hashtag AHCA. And like, I look at that and I think when we talk about the eroding trust of the administration with everything from the optics problems they have to this, I never trusted him, but for people that did, this is so sad that you're putting out there on one level, going out all over media saying, we've got to get behind this, we've got to stand together, and then saying, just kidding, we knew it was bad the whole time. Yeah. How can you trust someone that does that?
You can't. And it's interesting because in his own autobiography, The Art of the Deal.
When was that written? They keep talking about it.
It was written a while ago, but this is his.
He didn't write it.
This is The Art of the Deal.
Contemporary of the Magna Carta.
His ghostwriter was his ghostwriter was Tony Schwartz. But there are some really interesting nuggets in there. He coined a term called truthful hyperbole. Truthful hyperbole.
Is
the other word for that is BS.
It means it's a lie, but who cares?
The hyperbole is souped up.
It was in the book. So it means it's a lie, but who cares? And so that sort of has been his MO in business, and it's been his MO during the campaign, and it remains his MO.
And his vocabulary, tremendous, huge, everything's enormous.
Yeah, there's a real crisis, though, right?
But his little hands.
I said it though when he was running. I said this guy is a phony. This guy stands for nothing, and all he wants to be is the guy who made the deal. And he doesn't care what the deal looks like. He doesn't care how it impacts anybody. He's not. He's arguing. He'll be a conservative if he needs to that day to push through what he wants, so he can be a success.
Why do the Trump supporters? Why do they keep supporting him?
I don't know.
They desperately want him to. They desperately want him to be that guy.
Yeah, but
they want that guy, and you know.
So they're in denial.
I think they're hopeful that he will at some point evolve. But you know, when you live under a bubble and somebody comes along with a pen, It's going to burst, and you're going to get wet.
Yeah. I think they also, though, desperately want solutions, and now this is the guy in power. So what do? They sit back and say, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping this helps my financial situation, my healthcare situation, because is too. But disappointment, I promise you, conservatives they saw this tweet and got twisted like I did, because whether you didn't like the bill maybe because it was too conservative. I didn't like the bill because it wasn't conservative enough. But we're both principled, and he's not. He is not principled.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I hear you.
Oh, people.
Get twisted, I'm sorry.
She's very twisted. We'll be right back.
President Obama's former senior advisor, David Axelrod, gives his political view of how he'd take on the growing controversies of Trump's presidency.
Advisor to President Obama. Boy, we miss him. And boy, would he have his work cut out for him if he was still in the White House right now. Please welcome CNN's senior political commentator and host of the X-Files, David Axelrod. Hey, man. So, as I said, you were President Obama's senior advisor.
Yes.
So, when you heard the new guy's claims that he'd been wiretapped by Obama, did you get pissed?
I got stunned more than, I mean, obviously it's you get pissed, but the thing was so ludicrous. I mean, it was just so incredible, because anybody who knows anything about government, which may let him out,
Yes.
would know that a president can't order a wiretap. You'd have all kinds of agencies and people complicit in such an act.
Right.
There are rules and laws and courts that govern such things. And so even if you ascribe those kind of motives or that kind of attitude to Barack Obama, which I found an astonishing claim, it just was be impossible to accomplish. And I think most people agree, although there was a CBS poll yesterday that said a large number of Republicans believe that he was wiretapped.
Yeah. Wow. So, well, it's being reported that the Obama administration, again, blocked FBI Director James Comey from going public with information about Russian interference.
Earlier, he wanted to apparently write an op-ed in their view, and I wasn't there at the time. I was working for CNN, but their view apparently was that all the agencies should come forward at once, that this shouldn't be done as an op-ed. And in October, they did come forward. But I will tell you this, when I was at the Republican convention, there were already intimations of Russian interference. I mean, that story was out there. Remember, Manafort was ushered out shortly after that. So I don't think it was a secret that something was going on. And by October, they were very definitive about it.
Yeah. Now, we're watching the what's going on with the Russian connections right now. The FBI, the House of Representatives, and the Senate are all investigating possible links between Trump associates and Russia. Okay? The Intel chairman, Nunes, seems to be wavering a little bit on his position. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing. And a lot of people are going to be interviewed. We're going to learn a lot. Now, not since Watergate have I seen anything like this in terms of corruption, possible corruption in government. Do you think that Trump will end up like Nixon did?
You know, I think it's too early to say.
What do you think?
Too early to say.
You got to take a guess.
Joyce leading.
Are you? Is this a rhetorical question? Look, if it is found that his folks were coordinating with the Russians and knew about the hack and knew about the leaks that were to come, that is a very serious thing. And then the question will be the Watergate question: what did the president know, and when did he know it? And I think that will be a major crisis. And it's going to be tough for the Congress. Remember, back in the Watergate era, there were Republicans like Howard Baker who were very much involved in that process and put the country ahead of party. And it's incumbent on both sides to do that, because this goes to the heart of what democracy is all about.
And yet, right now, I only see obstruction on their part. I don't see any of that.
Well, you know, that is the Nunes thing was weird. You know, I mean, all of us who raise kids would advise him that if you sound guilty and you look guilty, people are going to think you're guilty. And that was a strange interlude. And he really sat there probe back. The Senate is on a different track.
Hopefully
They seem to be coordinating, and we'll see. But the best thing would be if there were a national commission that was free of some of this politics that could really shine a bright light on.
Yes, that would be nice.
A lot of Democrats and conservatives like myself are calling for Nunes to remove himself from this investigation. There's a lot of strange behavior that went on. He secretly visited the White House. Then he
twice.
Right.
He went and got the information and then ran back to give it back to them.
Right. Then he goes back. He doesn't tell his own intel committee, but instead tells the president and the media. Very strange behavior. People are saying, myself
because he was on the transition committee.
Right. He was on the transition team. He has. So is he there? Is he protecting the president, or can he be an advocate for actual transparency in this process?
My view is that this was right after the day after the hearing where Comey testified and Admiral Rogers testified, and it was a terribly embarrassing hearing for the president because they knocked down this whole notion of the bugging. And I think Nunes was, my theory is he may have been whistled in and told, you know what, because now he's also canceled a public hearing that promised to have other revelations. So I think he's, you know, he's under maximum suspicion here, and he's going to continue to be under pressure until he redeems himself by showing that he can run a clean investigation.
That's right.
Well, you heard us talking about a little earlier about Ivanka. She became an official federal employee, and she's now advising her father along with her husband, Jared Kushner. Do you think this is a problem in regard to nepotism?
Well, look, there's nepotism issues, there's conflict of interest issues, and there's one more issue. You know, I know her and I know Jared, and they're both very bright, skillful people, but they've never been in government. No one around the president in a senior role has ever been in government. The president's never been in government, never served in the military. First time in history that that's happened. And, you know, this is one of the reasons why the first 70 days have been so calamitous. And I'm not sure that she's going to add to that. But I will say this, if the one thing she does is, if she says, Dad, let me just hold that cell phone for you. That's I'll take that. If she does that, then she'll have done a great service to him and the country.
I've done great service to the country. I want to talk to you about health care, because for the last 2 years, we've been hearing from President Trump about repeal and replace. The Republicans had 7 years to come up with some sort of replacement. It didn't happen. Why was this such a failure?
It was such a failure because the Affordable Care Act in many ways was such a success. The fact is it's changed a lot of lives. I mean, the tens of millions of people who have health care, who didn't have health care, new benefits under insurance policies that are basic to health care, and Medicaid expanded. That's why so many Republican governors were opposed to the law. This was a collision of a political slogan with practicality, with the reality in people's lives. I will tell you, I was there when the Affordable Care Act, and we can debate the Affordable Care Act, and there's no doubt that it can be improved, and it should be improved. But I have a child with a chronic illness, epilepsy. I almost went bankrupt when I was a young newspaper reporter because she had seizures, 10 a day. She had to take medication, and the medication and other stuff was costing us $1,000 a month out of pocket, and I was making $35,000, $38,000 a year. I remember the terror associated with that. I cried the night the Affordable Care Act passed because I knew other families wouldn't have to go through what my family went through.
President Trump is now saying that there will be some sort of health care deal and that it's going to be easy to get that done.
Well, as you pointed out earlier, sometimes he's a little inconsistent. Sometimes his forecasts are not exactly right. I don't see the impetus for that right now. The Republican Party is divided, the Democratic Party is enraged, and it's very hard to put this together in a coherent way. So I don't see that happening.
He says he wants the Democrats to help him now. He said that.
But Paul Ryan said no.
And then Paul Ryan said no.
Well, I mean, if he stepped forward in the way that Democrats felt comfortable with, he will lose a lot of Republican votes from people who don't want to continue the Affordable Care Act, who philosophically don't believe the government should be involved in helping to provide access to health care for people.
David, I want to get to your special real quickly. You have a CNN special, The Axe Files, airing this Saturday, which is named after your podcast.
Yes.
You sit down with your political rival, John McCain, and we have a sneak peek. Take a look.
You know the thing about Ted Kennedy, the reason
You guys once menaced each other in the well of the Senate.
We fought and we would fight and then we would finish the fight and would put our arm around each other. I'd never forget. He'd say, "Yeah, we did pretty good, didn't we?" You know, I mean, because he divorced personal relationships and personality from the issues. So therefore, if you were friends with Ted Kennedy, that friendship worked.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah, precisely what you guys were talking about before. That's what we need to get back into our politics.
Do you think it'll happen?
Agreed.
Well, you know, if it doesn't, our democracy is going to be really
In
strained.
trouble.
Yeah,
We
it's
can't keep
deep
going
doo-doo
like
if
we're going.
we can't do this
Yes.
for 4 years. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
You know?
Nice to see you. I enjoyed the lively conversation.
Well, come back. Come back and play.
You don't get this kind of crowd at CNN.
Hey, you can catch the X-Files this Saturday night on CNN, and we will be right back.
So are you allowed to have wandering eyes in a relationship?
You're married, not blind.
Remember, I was dating a guy, and somebody walked past us, and he actually had the nerve to kind of do one of these. I was like, who does that?
I do. And then you get up and go.
Keep your eye on the view.
So,
Nobody's checking.
welcome back. Reportedly, Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel are locked in a really bad feud. Yeah, they're being kept separated on the press tour for the new movie, The Fate of the Fabulous Furious. What?
You added an F word in there.
Yeah, The Fabulous Furious Who-Whats. And it all started because, supposedly, Dwayne Johnson was really upset that Vin Diesel was constantly late to the set while they were filming.
Oh, it's like the feud with Betty Davis and Joan Crawford.
It's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah. And so would that drive you crazy? Would
If
you be
someone's
upset?
late all the time? I had a shrink who said you wait 20 minutes and then that's it. They're toast.
Yeah.
But imagine when you're filming, like this is the thing, I bet this is one of the first times Vin Diesel is being called out, because I think when you're surrounded by people that maybe nurture you or make excuses for you or enable the behavior, to have an all-star cast that's waiting for you with every piece of the crew, all the equipment, everything there, and you're late, everyone has to wait.
Money.
You can't, it costs so much money. So I think it was that he didn't like that he got called out.
You know, it reminds me of a story about Billy Wilder when he was doing Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. She was late all the time, like hours and hours, and people would say, "Why do you put up with it?" And he said, "You know, my Aunt Tilly is always on time." Meaning, this is the only one who can do that job. So okay if she's late.
Wow.
You want to put my aunt in there?
Well, Vin Diesel is actually the star of that franchise, right? He's been there from the very beginning.
Yeah,
when
but you can't
Dwayne
wait. You can't wait. No, you can't waste time. Listen. Being late is very disrespectful.
Very.
Because if you know, I don't care how big a star you are.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of people on that set. They all got stuff to do too.
Also, isn't
You're saying your time is more
everyone can be
important than
replaced
theirs.
these days?
Well, you know, you can't be replaced, but it's much better to say, hey, man, you know, just like you got stuff to do.
Yeah.
You said this is a time we should be starting now. If we're starting 2-3 hours late, then you're messing me up with my family. Or you're messing me up with this.
Is there a reason that he gives?
We don't know.
We don't know. And we don't, who knows?
Yeah.
But the other thing that's really gotten everybody all freaked out is Black China, who I also, as you know, have a really big problem with, because she calls herself Black China, but then on the show, she's just China, and I don't get it. Isn't she still black?
Well, she leaves off the K.
So she and Rob Kardashian have a baby, and she has another baby.
With Tyga.
With Tyga.
Yes.
And she's saying Tyga is not stepping up and paying child support.
I'm so upset about this because
I know.
If Black China's not happy, I'm not happy. And so this must be resolved.
Well, and it's sort of incestuous in the sense that Tyga is now with Rob Kardashian's sister Kylie. So there's a lot going on there. But what I'm uncomfortable with is why are you airing this over social media? About your child, because the internet is going to be out there forever. What about when he's old enough to read it?
Isn't that's part of the Kardashian crowd, right?
Yeah.
Now, it seems to me that the Trump family has taken over for the Kardashians. And they need some juice, you know what I'm saying?
Because nobody's checking for the Kardashians in the way they used to.
That's right.
Joy always says that. Nobody's checking for the Kardashians.
No, it's Audrey that says that.
Joy does not say that.
All right.
Please.
Bitches.
Takes one to know one. We'll be right back.
Guy Day Friday hits a home run when Alex Rodriguez mans the Hot Topics table. And actress Katie Seagal opens up about her 15-year battle with drug addiction and how she finally broke free.
Hold on, this is a mouthful, so listen. ABC's Magic of Storytelling campaign ends tomorrow. The goal is to distribute 1 million books to kids in need through First Book, which is a national nonprofit that provides new books to organizations serving children from low-income families. You can still do your part. In order to make a difference with First Book, all you have to do by tomorrow is post a shelfie, which is a selfie in front of a bookshelf, or with a book. Post it to Twitter or Instagram and include the hashtag Magic of Storytelling, and Disney will give a book to a child in need through First Book. Visit www.firstbook.org to be inspired to learn more. Good God.
Do it again. You missed something.
Oh, wait, I have to...
Let's do the hashtag
I have to do this thing. Wait a minute.
Do the last thing.
So it's... Visit www.firstbook.org.
//
sorry. God bless you.
Do it again.
Be inspired.
Go ahead, you got
You know
time.
what? Come to what? No, I'll tell you what to do. Go to the View website and you'll get all the information.
Yeah,
you'll
that's
see it
easier.
right there, okay? We want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view.
I don't need that.
100 students on the